Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for March 17th, 2020. Okay, so let me just update you where we're at. We're going to have a little bit of issues tonight because we have 3 selectmen that could be considered at risk, and we've decided that they should stay home. But they're going to be here on Memorex, I guess. We've got Peter, Alan, and Jim. You guys can say something so everybody hears you.
Hello?
Hello, there's Peter. Jim, can you hear us?
Manise here.
Okay. And Alan, is he up? Okay, we're still waiting to get Alan connected. I hope that everybody's staying safe out there. We're going to try to make this happen the best we can. We'll get better at it as time goes on, I'm sure. But it is what it is. As you know, I hope everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing, washing your hands, staying away from crowds, keeping distance between each other, doing all the good things that you should be doing so that we can get through this as quickly and as safe as possible for everybody concerned. All right, could I have a roll call, please? Is Alan here yet? Okay, so for now, there'll be just 4 of us.
It looks like he's going. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Alan, can you hear us?
Try, but I can't connect to him.
Alan? Oh, this is going to be fun. First time around, it's going to be fun. It just is what it is.
That's right.
Okay,
Stopping the audio for just a sec, just until it stops.
okay. Okay, anyway, we're gonna get, we have 3 of us, we have 4 of us here, so you can do it with that. And we're gonna have to do all this by roll call, because that's one of the criteria when you're doing a conference-type calling system, so, go ahead.
Okay. Roll
Everybody
call.
present.
Yep. Well, myself and Patrick are here.
Peter,
and,
yeah.
Also remotely, Alan, Peter, and Jim. We just are disconnected from Alan temporarily.
Okay, and town council?
Town
And-
council, I'm sorry, and town administrator.
There we go. All right, so roll call's done. I guess we can still do our Pledge of Allegiance. We shouldn't stop that. Why don't we let the moderator lead us for this one? She's good at it.
When we get off the phone, we do the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, see, we gotta continue. All right, announcements. Let's start with, why don't we start with Jim? You got any announcements, Jim?
Let's. Do you get an echo, or is it just
No.
me?
No, we can hear you fine. You're perfect.
Okay. I'm gonna pass some announcements just to try to have a very brief and succinct meeting here.
Okay. Okay, how about you, Peter?
I don't have,
Why is it
but
breaking
I'm
up?
getting back echo when Jim.
That's just all breaking up. Nobody
Can
can.
you guys say that one more time?
I don't have any announcements,
There you go.
but I'm getting weird feedback when Jim speaks.
Okay.
So,
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, Jim has to mute his TV.
Yeah, he's got to mute the volume on his TV. Jim,
I
you
don't
have to-
have it on.
Okay. All right. So that's good. How about you, Mary? Is there anything for announcements?
I'm pretty sure there's.
Okay, and Alan's not around, so we'll skip him for now. We can see if he's got anything when we kind of hook up to him. All right, citizens' comments. The moderator gonna come down, or you gonna do it during one of our things? All right. I don't care. All right. Next, board comments. Alan, any board comments? I mean, not Alan. Jim.
Okay. When we come to the special town meeting,
Yes.
we did not include the restated amended agreement for the CMW. So we need to put that in there to have a vote on it.
Yeah, we voted, didn't we vote to put it on though, Jim? I think we did.
Yes,
right?
we did, but it's not on the list.
It's not on the list? Okay, we'll make sure it gets on there.
It's not on the actual warrant, is what
Okay,
Jim's saying.
we'll have to make
so-
sure, I will check it and make sure it gets in there, Jim. I'm glad you mentioned that, thank you. All right, how about, Alan, Peter, you have anything?
Nope.
Mary?
Nope.
Alan?
Said he's going to bow out on this round.
He's gonna bow out, okay, so we're not gonna have Alan tonight. All right, and I'm not gonna bother tonight, because we got a lot of other things to get out of the way. Okay, appointments, reappointments, and interviews. Now, we have a little bit of an issue here tonight, because none of these folks are here because of the circumstances.
And we informed him to not come.
Yeah, so, well, that's right. Because of the circumstances, we thought it was best for them to stay away, so it's gonna be hard to interview them. So I think I'm gonna put this off. The zoning board really can't act right now very much anyway. The meetings are kind of messed up, so I think we've got a little bit of time, so why don't we just forgo that for now, okay? And then, Conservation Commission, we have, isn't that a reappointment?
So it says,
Yes.
No?
It's just, it says appointment.
It's an appointment. Well,
Appointment.
does anybody know this guy or anything? Or is, Jim, what do you want to hear from this gentleman?
I do not know him,
Okay.
but he has been recommended by the Conservation Commission, correct?
He was, but that's up to you whether you feel comfortable with that or not.
You know, I don't think none of us know everyone, so unless you're adverse to it.
We do have a letter from the Conservation Administrator. It says, after a recent meeting on Wednesday, March 4th, the Conservation Commission unanimously voted to recommend the appointment of Michael Mercier to a position as associate member of the commission.
So it's
Guys
an
there?
associate member. I think we should be able to do that. No, Jim, you don't have a problem with that, right? Jim,
Oh,
do we lose him?
Still see them.
Jim, are you still there?
no, I am. Your
Oh, okay, we didn't hear you. Are you okay with?
audio is cutting out.
Does anybody have a problem with this? Well,
Putting him off or no?
why don't you make a motion and we'll deal with it that way?
Okay, I move.
I'll make a motion to appoint.
Good, make the motion, Mary.
Okay, I move that we approve Michael Mercier for an associate member of the Conservation Commission for a term to expire no later than June 30th, 2021.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jim. All right, motion made by Mary, seconded by Jim. Roll call. Mary,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Patrick, yes. Okay, so it's 4-0-0 for right now, okay?
We've got Alan on board. Alan, can you text me that address you just used when you get a chance so I can put in my contacts? I can't hear you.
Can you put a microphone in front of him?
In front of here. Alan, you can take a look at everybody.
Okay,
In front of Derek.
so he's FaceTiming?
He is FaceTime.
Okay, so Alan is now with us. All right, it's 7:15.
1 hour.
All right, next up is a request from the Church of the Good Shepherd, Project Bread for the use of town roads for the 2020 Greater Wareham Walk for Hunger to be held on Sunday, May 3rd. Now, I don't have a problem with doing this, but it's likely this won't happen.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows. It's a crowded bunch of people walking down the road. It's probably not gonna happen.
What's the date on that?
May 3rd, that's not too far away.
I wouldn't even approve.
Yeah, you know what? Why don't we not approve it for now, and they'll have to reschedule it. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, you could deny it without prejudice.
Okay. Okay, could I have a motion to deny without prejudice?
I move that we deny this without prejudice.
Motion made by Mary, seconded by Peter. Any discussion? All in favor, excuse me, roll call. Jim? Jim?
Yes.
Okay, Alan?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Patrick, yes, okay. So it's 500. Okay, this is gonna be a little difficult, but we'll get it all there.
Yeah, we're doing fine.
Request from the Onset Base Association for use of town roads, this is another one. This is August 15th, I think we can do this one. I think, let's hope that by August, this is over, all right? What do you think? August 15th, that's a long ways away.
We can approve it pending review, I think, if you want to have that optimistic outlook on it. I just think we need to,
Well, I think we need to be optimistic. I mean, I'd like to see this thing over by August. I'm sure everybody would. So let's have a motion on this one, and we'll review it. What we'll do is we'll review it again in a meeting later down the road. If there is an issue, then we can change it. But for now, we'll approve it. How about that?
Okay, I move that we approve permission for the Onset Bay Association to hold their annual Chock Full of Street Painting Festival, August 15th, 2020.
Okay, motion made by Mary, seconded by
Second.
Peter. Roll call. Mary.
Yes.
Jim.
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble hearing a lot of the
Okay.
discussion of the motions, but I'll agree with them right now.
Okay, Alan? Yep, and myself, yes. Yes. So that's everybody. Okay, thank you, 500. All right, next up, renew a seasonal liquor license on the provisions of Chapter 138 of MGL for 2020. A common vic, all alcoholic for Point Independence Yacht Club, DBA Point Independence Yacht Club, 15 Independence Lane, Onset, Mass. That's the first one.
I move that we approve.
Motion made by Mary to approve, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Jim. Okay, roll call. Jim.
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Alan. Yes. Mary.
Yes.
Patrick, yes. 500. Next, common vic, all alcoholic beverage license for Little Harbor Country Club, DBA Little Harbor Country Club, 1 Little Harbor Road, Wareham.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Mary, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Peter. Roll call. Peter.
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Alan.
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
Patrick, 500. All right, discussion and vote on GLC 44, Section 31, emergency declaration.
Okay, whereas the governor has declared a state of emergency, and whereas the coronavirus pandemic poses a threat to our inhabitants, I therefore move that the Board of Selectmen vote declare a GLC 44S31 emergency expenditure authorization for the Board of Health and Department, Municipal Maintenance Department, and all public safety departments to expend funds in excess of appropriations under the overall supervision of the town administrator for the sole purpose of emergency preparation and response, and further that the clerk of the board transmit a copy of this vote to the Department of Revenue Bureau of Accounts.
Motion made by Mary, seconded by? Seconded by Peter. Okay, any discussion? Roll call. Peter.
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Alan.
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
Patrick, yes. 500. Okay. Next up, a vote to affirm the appointment of the COA Director, Christine Quinn. Could I have a motion to affirm her appointment, please?
So moved.
Motion made by Mary, seconded by Peter. Roll call. Peter.
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Alan.
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
Patrick, yes. 500. Okay, reserve fund transfer by the town administrator.
we're seeking for the remainder of the reserve fund balance, $35,500. What I would ask is if this does get approved, that the chairman send me an email approving it. We're trying not to pass as much paper as possible.
Okay, no problem. Okay, could I have a motion, please? To approve
So moved.
35,500? A motion made by Mary, seconded by
Second.
Peter. Roll call. Peter?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Patrick? 500. Perfect.
This will still require some action from the finance committee.
Yes,
so
I knew that.
Reach out to the chairperson.
Okay, continued discussion and possible vote on warrant articles to include the 2020 special town meeting. Now, what haven't we voted on the general first? Let's do that one.
You wanna look at it?
Yeah, I do, if I may.
You may.
Okay, so do we have the capital plan numbers?
Mr. Chairman, members, given what we're entering into for right now and the impact on next year, let's just put that as a placeholder.
Okay.
It's something we can go over during the TA report.
Well, and it's likely we're gonna put off town meeting, so it's gonna be more time anyway. So the capital and so on, you wanna hold all those off for the time being? We did get the Upper Cape thing. Oh, you got the capital number?
No, we've got it on the warrant, right? Correct? That's
Yeah, it's here. Yeah, capital's here, the budget's here, EMS's budget, Upper Cape's here.
Yeah.
I saw that come through today.
That came through, yep. That's what they told us all along.
So there's no change in it?
Right.
So Water Pollution Control Fund, we don't have numbers for that yet. And also, we haven't done it, we're still waiting for the update for the final vote on the FEMA thing, which she was going back to the drawing board. So we don't know what we're gonna do with that one yet. All right, well, if that's the case, then we're just gonna hold off on these. Hopefully, we're gonna deal, if you can, let's do this. Why don't we go to, bring the moderator up here now? And we're gonna, so, let's talk about town meeting while you're here.
Well, as you know, I came in a couple of weeks ago to tell you that if there was a need for recessing town meeting, that there were two ways that it could be done, two very different ways. And so watching what's been going on and looking at the future, even though we have a zero quorum, it's my intention that I would like to declare a recess to town meeting, but there are certain things that have to be done before I can do that. One of which is to consult with your board. So I'm here tonight to consult with your board, to talk to you about recessing. I did reach out to the school for some dates in May and also in June. And so I, wanted to talk to
I
you
think
about
you're
that
gonna
as
need
well.
that June date at the earliest.
Yes. And the other part of this that I will have to do is I have to meet with the public safety officials as well before I can declare. There still are some things that have to be resolved before I make a declaration, and I want to thank Attorney Bowen, who has been out straight, writing legislation to clean up Chapter 39, Section 10A, because there are some things that have impacted many of the towns. Because you have, your first article is the election. Even though we are to recess town meeting, we can't recess the election. Under Chapter 39, 10A, to recess town meeting, it would have to be called within 30 days of April 27th. And if we're still in a position where we still have this virus going around, then we would have to do a meeting within that 30 days. So there is an amendment being worked on that we can recess it once and then recess it again if it passes through the powers that be at the State House. So there are, Rich could probably address some of the things that they've been working on right up until about an hour ago.
So would you like our authorization to go ahead and recess town meeting?
I just need
And
to
that will
consult
give
with
you time to figure out a date.
Right, it's not gonna happen at least for a couple of days,
Okay.
but I wanna at least look towards a date, and I'm thinking that June would be the better option. And the other reason I wanna try to nail down a date is because the fire district probably will also be canceling their meeting, and they'll be looking for a date.
Okay.
So I'm leaning towards mid-June. I think it's June 15th and 16th, and then the following Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesdays in June right now are open. So I would like to at least reach out to the high school and confirm that we want to take those dates.
Could I have a motion to give our approval to the moderator to move town meeting?
So moved.
Motion made by Mary, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Peter. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Go ahead, Alan.
What I've seen the last day or so, sent a note to Rich. The governor also talked about being allowed to go past June 30th if there's an issue because of, budgets, et cetera, timeframe. So, as long as we understand that we can legally go past June 30th as of right now.
Go ahead, Rich. Yes, go ahead, please.
Use a
Okay.
different mic.
Yeah, please use a different mic.
I like Claire.
Yeah.
Not that, that's not the point. We will, we'll show great example this way.
Guess hugs are out of the question.
It's like 6 feet.
So, a lot's been going down. Wow, am I far enough back? A lot's been going on.
Sounds like Derek has the plague.
Notice I'm not sitting next to the Germantown administrator. I'm out here in the audience.
It's German.
So, German, oh, sorry.
German warfare.
There's been a lot going on, and I'll just try to give you a brief summary. As Claire has stated, there is legislation pending that would, if necessary, under certain circumstances, allow the annual town meeting to occur after June 30th. For those who don't know, and I know you certainly do, the town's fiscal year ends on June 30th, and it's considered to be highly advisable practice to have a balanced budget in place on June 30th. The legislation that's pending would allow budgets to be adopted after that date with certain approvals from the Commissioner of Revenue mostly. That's working its way through. You're already using tonight one of the pieces of legislation that has gone through. Claire is using another piece of legislation that's gone through. What else do we want to talk about in terms of?
The regional school budget, why
Oh.
that needs to be
Oh, yeah.
included.
Right up until maybe an hour ago, a number of people have been working on amending the manner in which regional school budget debt would be authorized, unlike the regional school budget where it requires the approval of a certain number of member towns for it to go through. Debt authorization by regional school is different. The way it works is if the regional school committee adopts the budget or adopts a borrowing, it's then certified to the town, and you have 60 days within which to hold a town meeting to disapprove, and if you don't disapprove, you're considered to have adopted it. So it kind of turns things on their head a little bit. So we're working to suspend that law for the foreseeable future, just because, not that it would happen with our school district, but I've seen a few where, an opportunist might take advantage of the timing, but not with us, just to be clear
Yeah, they've
on
been
that.
pretty good, so,
Oh, yeah, excellent. What else?
over the years.
I think you hit it. There were the three
Yeah.
amendments.
The legislation is in committee right now. It'll probably surface and hopefully be passed, Friday, as early as Friday. So that's about it. We'll keep plugging along. One other thing I would tell you about, this is turning into more of a town council's report, so maybe Derek's off the hook tonight.
That's fine.
We've been looking into the question of boards in town where there are statutory constructive approvals.
Yeah.
That's a serious issue, because,
That didn't get waived.
no, that has not been waived.
No.
And so I want to tell you, and by extension the public, what my advice is on that. If you have something in the pipeline and you're coming up to the constructive approval date, my advice is
Turn it
that
down.
either you agree to extend that date, or it will be turned down without prejudice.
Right.
If you come in for a new permit or application that has a constructive approval deadline in it, you will be asked to sign an extension to allow the hearings to be carried off to an appropriate time. If you do not sign that, and if for some reason the reviewing board can't get to it on the substance, I have advised that your application should be turned down without prejudice. So the reason why I'm saying this all right now is it's really in your interest to sign the form and agree to extend it. You're not going to be able to mousetrap us into something, so just sign the piece of paper,
Right.
and we'll get to it when we're able to get to it.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I
that's it.
mean, you gotta, everybody, everybody has to think about not taking advantage of this situation at all. They need to understand that this is a serious situation and that we all need to work together and be part of a community to make things happen. And that includes the people that come in looking for things from us, whether they're constructively or not. And, just play fair and we'll play fair with you. It's as simple as that,
Exactly.
Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you to Attorney Bowen, and I think that we all should be very grateful, not just our community, but all the communities, because he saw the writing on the wall a couple of weeks ago and put together the legislation and sent it right up. And then the Mass Moderators Association, because of all the differences in charters and bylaws, also got involved because in order to have a broad amendment to Chapter 39, there were a lot of things that came into play, and Attorney Bowen has been at the forefront. I think I have 200 emails just this afternoon going back and forth with him by different towns. How do we cover this? How can we write this legislation to cover us because of all the different charters and town bylaws, and those that have meetings this week, and what do you do if you have an election before or an election after? So personally, I think we all of the towns owe Rich a lot of gratitude for what's been going on, and I don't know if he's gotten any sleep in the last week.
Well, let's not give him too much because he'll want to raise.
Well, thanks.
He
Clay.
will
Fortunately,
deserve- he
we've
will
already
deserve it.
appointed him, so he is what it is.
I'm locked in.
You're locked in, yeah.
With your permission, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, Claire did remind me of something that I did want to mention. The town elections, and I'm sure that's on people's minds.
Yeah,
Madam Clerk and I, and to an extent, Madam Moderator and I have been discussing the town elections. As of yesterday, and Madam Clerk, I'm sure will report this in her own fashion, the inclination is not to continue the election. However, if we need to continue the election, there is no law that actually would allow us to do that. So we would have to do one of two things in order to continue the election. Well, first you'd have to pick a date, and at this point, I don't know what that date would be. But then you would do one of two things. Either you would go ahead and hold the election, or schedule the election, ask the governor for legislation that either authorizes it or ratifies it, depending on when it gets adopted, or ask that I go to court to get a court order from a justice of the Superior Court ordering that the election be delayed until the date that we pick. I can certainly write the legislation. It might be quicker just to authorize me to go off and get a court order. That will be up to Madam Clerk when it'll be up to you because I don't go to court unless you give me permission, but also up to Madam Clerk as to whether she wants to delay the election.
well, let's think of it this way. I'd like to think that, we'll get a handle on this thing quickly and, we'll be able to go forward. But if things get shut down tighter, which they could, then we'd have to do what we have to do. I mean, you can't risk people, or especially seniors, and as we all know, they have a high rate of issues with the disease that we don't, it's not worth not trying it if we have to. So I'm with you on this for now. I'm hoping that they're gonna get a handle on it quickly and maybe we turn it around. If not,
We have a plan.
we have to have a plan. We've gotta go forward.
We've got a plan.
So I think we'll keep talking. We talk all the time anyway. It's not like we're not paying attention, so. All right, so that's terrific. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you, guys.
Just to know, where I'm up for reelection, I will abstain to do with moving.
We couldn't
What'd he
hear
say?
that.
I believe Peter said that if it came to a vote, because he's a candidate.
Yeah, he'd
for
have to
reelection,
abstain,
He'd
yeah.
abstain. The other thing is that the law provides that, I believe it's Chapter 41, Section 108A, maybe 108, 108A, one of those. It says that someone who's elected and sworn to office continues in office until their successor is elected and qualified. So again, we're talking hypotheticals. If the election were delayed,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be a situation where all of a sudden a couple of offices became vacant
Right.
and nobody was there.
Right.
Some of you would have to keep going.
I'm with
Yeah.
you guys for the duration, I guess.
All right, so, let's, the next thing I want to talk about is a special town meeting. And the reason for that is that we have to close it tonight, but we need to add one thing that wasn't put in there. And that's the CMW, article wasn't put in for some reason or another. Did you notice that, Pete,
I
Derek?
guess that one just,
It slipped through the cracks and, oh, it didn't get put in here, so,
Jim, do you want that in its, I don't think we're not gonna put that in its full, right? We're not gonna put that in its full, we'll just have it and then have it available for review, I guess, online. I don't think
Well,
we can
yeah,
do it.
online, it's quite the document, about 8 pages, you know.
Yeah.
Just an amended, restated, agreement between the towns of Carver, Marion, and Wareham, and to see if the town will vote to support the, change of the agreement. So that's whatever your pleasure is on that.
okay.
Yeah, so we'll put it in with the, to see if the town would vote.
Okay.
We'll have it online. Normally, we'd have it on the, available in the clerk's office. We can still do that, but nobody of the general public can get to the clerk's office.
Correct, you're right, so,
Basically,
go ahead.
I think, people should, you know, listen and understand that what it's doing is closing the transfer stations of December 31st as written. And although we're looking to find other solutions, if we don't, people are out of the luck, you know, they don't have the opportunity to go to the transfer station.
Okay,
So
All right.
that's,
all right.
there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. That's
All right.
all. Thank you.
Okay, so, for everybody's edification, we're going to put the article on about the transfer, station and the trash, what do they call it? CMW? And we're gonna put that on as an article, okay? So it will be included in the warrant. Right now, we'll take a vote. Can I have a vote to, we did include it. We already voted on it. I remember we did.
Yes, we did.
We did vote to put it in there. It's just not in there.
It's just not,
So we don't need to vote to put it in again. It's already been voted to do that. So we'll make sure that it's in there when we close the warrant. And for everybody's, when we get to town meeting, you'll have to have probably gone and read it online. So everybody out there, and I wish the press would make note of that, that when they see that article, that they should go on to our website and should read the content of it, because it's many pages long, and that's where they'll be, so they're informed before they get there. And it looks like they're gonna have a little extra time, so they can read. All right, next up, let's close the warrant. With that inclusion.
With including the CMW article.
Yes,
that will-
yeah, it just doesn't show on there, although we did put it on there, so it really is on there. It's just not on the copy we have here, that's all.
okay, I move that we close the special town meeting warrant, also including the CMW article.
And you have everything, because there was a union article in there as
Yep, it's in there,
well,
yep,
so.
yep. All right, so,
Second.
motion made by Mary, seconded by Peter. Is there any other discussion? Roll call, Peter,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Alan, is he still here? Okay, Mary?
Yes.
Patrick, yes, 500. Okay, so we've closed the warrant. We've done that little bit. We've done the discussion and so on. We moved on to that. Vote on articles for 2020. We can't do that. We've kind of passed over that. So next thing is there any 24-hour business? I do not believe so. So we'll move on to next, the town administrator's report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, we've closed all town buildings to the public, but we're still operating. We appreciate the help. We still have people coming to the doors. There's signage up and such. Please, we've instructed the staff to answer the phones, make sure they're being responsive. We understand this is a difficult time for everyone, including our staff that are in, and we're very lucky. They're in, they're working hard. In fact, they're probably more so fighting on us because they want to get some things done. We're telling them you can't do that now. So one of the things I do have Mr. McDonald here, the emergency management director. We've been doing.
You want to bring him down, introduce him and stuff? Come on down, Patrick.
And this is a
Hey,
part
take-
of the.
Take that middle mic, it hasn't been used yet.
Oh, now we won't bring Doreen up because there's no space. No, she's fine. Mr. McDonald, do you want to go through just some of the things that we've?
Absolutely. First, I'd like to thank everybody for really taking social distancing seriously and really adhering to the Department of Public Health's guidelines that they've issued. As of this afternoon, the case numbers have obviously gone up again. We have another 20 some odd cases, a few more listed in Plymouth County. And as you've heard on the news, I'm sure, cases are going to continue to come in, and this is the time where we're going to hit that uptick in the curve, and hopefully what we've implemented here and across the Commonwealth will help us flatten the curve, as everybody's heard. We really want to try to eliminate the influx of people and cases that we're going to see in our healthcare system, because it really will put a heavy burden on those beds that we have in our hospitals and other places like that.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
No, one of the big things is we've been concerned about the seniors. So the new COA director's really come in under fire. So we appreciate her coming on board.
Yes, she has. To say the least.
Meals on Wheels are still running. We're looking for some of the continuity of operation. The superintendent has done an amazing job getting meals out to children and having that going on. They have different drop-off locations, so I mean the effort's been great. Every morning at 10 a.m., as you know, Mr. Chairman, we have the emergency response team meeting. We're doing that virtually. In other words, everybody calling in and such, because we're really trying to keep everyone safe, especially those, a lot of our first responders, very important folks to getting us through all this. So a lot of great effort. We appreciate the town's it's been very calm, and we've really been great. And there's just certain things. Our businesses, we have great businesses. I went into Frank's butcher shop and said, Frank, what do you have? Do you have anything available? He said, I'm going to limit you to 2 pounds, Derek. Everybody can only get 2 pounds, because I had people coming in here that wanted 25 at once, and I knew they were going to pull that aside and just keep it for themselves. So I want to make sure everybody has enough. So, we've really got some great people there thinking about others. So, yeah, that's just one anecdote, but we really appreciate it.
I'll tell you, I've seen the lines going into the supermarket and people coming out. Now, I have a big family, and I usually have a carriage and a half or 2 carriages every time I go, right? No big deal. And I shopped, I did the same thing. But I seen people coming out with 3, 4 carriages of stuff. I was like, what are you doing with that stuff? I mean, they must have enough food to supply themselves. And the funny is it doesn't last. Everybody knows, So, but, and the food, I went in the supermarket again tonight. I had to go, and I walked in, and it was fine. There wasn't too many people in there. There was plenty of food. There was, it wasn't like you weren't going to eat or anything. So they're doing a good job down there. At least at Stop and Shop they are, anyway. So,
Yeah, the supply chains are still.
yep, they're doing their job, and they're getting stuff done anyway. So, and I see them washing all the time. There's people in every aisle, like, sanitizing stuff,
Today, before they stopped me, I was going out, did some shopping, going out, and they said, I'm very sorry, we have to sanitize. I said, no problem. And, they took their time, sanitized, us already waiting. And then, it's going through, and the manager said, I'm very sorry, we have to do this. I'm very thankful I was the one to be there after you sanitized it. I mean, there should be no shame in these extra steps. It's great. It's keeping us safe. So.
Yeah, I mean, they're really putting in the extra effort. They're trying real hard, and that's great. And I just hope people keep paying attention themselves, which, you know, some people seem to think that they're indestructible, and apparently they could find out they're not. All right, is there anything else?
No, you know, that's as
That's
we,
enough, right?
Look, we're all inundated with it. We're all very lucky. Let's take a deep breath. Don't hug each other, but that's
I see you have a stress ball, so obviously you're stressed a little. I see it right over there. I've never seen him with a stress ball in here. All of a sudden, he's playing with a stress ball. It can only mean one thing.
just something we had laying around.
Yeah. Trying to keep it together over there.
But thank you. We're very lucky to have the people that we have working for us.
And by and large, we
thank you
have
all.
pretty large,
Appreciate
great
it.
people, that's for sure. Yeah, we do a great job. All right,
We'll
next,
keep you updated as we go on.
I appreciate it. Next up will be liaison reports. Did anybody actually do any liaisoning this week?
No.
Alan, go ahead. Can you give Alan a... Okay. Is that mic on?
You know, that are on the board of directors, and there was a lot of things discussed.
We can hear.
The issue about the different boards and stuff having issues, really the zoning board is the only one that has some issues with
Turn that mic
time-sensitive
up,
dates.
maybe.
We expect the government within a day or two to actually pass something on that. That came down from the legislative stuff today. One of the most important things is that we're concerned very much about the revenue for 2021, which makes it difficult for Derek's budget going forward. And we're also concerned that there may be issues with the 2020 budget that we're looking at. There may be cutbacks as well. So I'm thankful that Mr. Sullivan has been as conservative as he has been all along, which leaves us in a pretty good position. There's going to be discussions about what people can do and not do with the stabilization funds to make it easier if they have it to move it. The state has a very large stabilization fund, and I'm hoping they'll be able to use some of that to offset the shortfalls they're expecting. They're actually expecting a pretty severe drop in revenue. There's other issues which basically the Mass Municipal Association has their website, which if you have any questions of any kind, you can go to that site. You can ask what the question is, and they'll give you answers. And this is for the town administrators, anyone on the town, selectmen, etc. And there'll be more information coming, but there's a lot of individual issues that we normally deal with on a daily basis that because of the lack of being able to meet, etc., is making things difficult. So expect more stuff coming down as we go. And one other piece, I wasn't able in the beginning of the meeting. Again, we keep losing people in this town. I don't know if everybody remembers, but Charlie Barrows and his wife Paula were the people who took care of a family next door to get the house rebuilt back about 4 or 5 years ago at least on Hathaway Road. And unfortunately, Mr. Barrows passed away on March 11th very quickly from an illness. And I'd like to issue some kind of, card or something to the family, stating our sorriness for the loss of that family. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Jim?
I went, as you know, the ZBA meeting last week, had some conversation related to the openings for associate members and full member. And I'm hoping that you, Mr. Chairman, will reach out to the members of the board and find out what their disposition is in being on the board and the commitment so that we can move forward and make these appointments.
Okay, we're talking about the ZBA, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're going to, I did reach out to the chairman, and I did talk to him probably 2 days ago, and I did discuss some of your ideas that you and I had discussed, and he was really on board with it. He was going to discuss it with his board, but he didn't really he thought that was a good idea and appropriate. We'll have to put it on the agenda at some point and talk about it. Probably try to get it on next week.
Well, Yeah, and I appreciate that. I think we need an official resignation from one of the members who is
Yes.
stepping down,
Yes, we do.
so that slot becomes officially open. And then everything else can move through. Maybe Mr. Selectman Slavin would like a comment on that.
I spoke with Ken Buckland this morning because I had got a notice from Mr. Chris that he had decided last minute to not go ahead with the appointment. And we had 3 people at that time that were looking for associates. We have 2 associates in place right now, Walter Cruz Jr. and I'm going brain dead with a second name, sorry. And one of them is teaching school and has some issues, and Mr. Cruz Jr. was injured, but decided to continue, and I expect that he'll probably be the one they'll bring forward. So today, even if we wanted to, the most we could have appointed was 1 associate, because we have 2 that are still active as associates. So this should all straighten itself out in the next week or so.
Yes, it will, I believe. So we'll get back to this, and thanks, Jim. All right, anything else? Jim?
I'm good.
Okay. Peter?
Well, I didn't really canceled development authority tonight. I really think it's incumbent on the board to not meet with, you know, and use boards agreements with the application to waive time frames, supposed to rule on things. I'll be honest, I don't town other than the and the board.
He's kind of breaking up, so I can't hear him. Hold on, Peter, we can't hear you.
Peter, you might have to speak a little slower.
Sleep a little slower, would you?
Yeah.
Okay? Try it again, Peter.
My feeling is the only boards in town that should be meeting now, Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health.
Right.
I think, as has been discussed, the planning and the other land use boards need to request and obtain from people who are, you know, currently in the application process, so that these boards don't have to meet and, you know, undergo the risk of coming out in public to deal with these applications.
Okay. Thank you. Mary, anything?
No.
No, okay. I'm going to just leave this because we have... All right, next is the consent agenda, and I believe we do not have one. Oh. How'd you get that to happen? We didn't have... Now he shows up. So we don't have a consent agenda, so that's going to leave one thing. First, I want to remind everybody before we leave here, please follow all of the rules and guidelines that are being given to you. I know they're annoying. I know some of them are something that some of them you don't want to do. Sometimes you just want to go do what you want to do. But for the time being, let's try to work together. The other thing is, I don't care what party you are. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Communist, whatever you are. This virus doesn't care. Doesn't care where you're from. So let's work together and not worry about what party you're from or what brand you are or anything else. Let's work together and see if we can get through this as quickly as possible, because that's going to help our businesses get back up and running and everybody get back to doing what they always want to do. All right? So let's do that, and let's try to be the neighbors that we are. And I know Wareham's always good about when we have problems. They're always good. The people always spread out and they help out whenever they possibly can. But sometimes in this instance, you got to know whether you can help or you can't. So you might want to call somebody to see whether that's an acceptable help, if you know what I mean. Okay? It's a kind of a funny circumstance. But anyway, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. We'll have another meeting. I don't know that we'll do it this way exactly, but we'll do something. Thank you so much. Come on, Alan. There it is. Motion,
Second.
I wondered when that was gonna happen. Motion by Alan, seconded by, what's your name, Peter? Roll call. Peter,
Yes, yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Alan, Mary.
Yes.
Patrick, yes. Thank you, Wareham. Have a good week.
Now, can I